This Arizona football against TCU game could be more than just a game. There is a lot of meanings that could go into this.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. This show is brought to you today by FanDuel. All right, at FanDuel, you can put down $5 if you're a new customer, and you get $150 in free plays. Check it out, FanDuel.com. Okay, now, Arizona football against TCU. This game is here now before the season. I think I, like a lot of other people, probably thought that Arizona was going to have a very good chance of winning this game. Well, right now the point spread is about 11.5 or 12, something like that, for TCU. And it's not necessarily that TCU is a great team. It is that TCU, at least on paper, appears to be a tough matchup for Arizona. Obviously, Sonny Dykes is a really, really good coach. Arizona fans know that. I think TCU fans know that. I mean, they're 2 years removed from the national championship game, so there's certainly that. But when it comes to this game, though, TCU is kind of what the problem that Arizona has is that Sonny Dykes is going to look to throw the ball. He is going to look to throw the ball, and he is going to look to throw the ball. And that starts obviously with Hoover at quarterback. Now, the thing that I think makes TCU interesting, though, is that you've got 4 wide receivers that all have over 500 yards, which means obviously that they spread the football out. So that's obvious. That's something that you got to keep in mind if you're Arizona. The problem for Arizona as well is that right now you're at the stage where your DBs, I mean, it's kind of a walking wounded in the defensive backfield. Obviously, Gunnar Maldonado out for the season. Traden Stukes out for the season. I mean, those were 2 guys that would be very, very helpful in this game. Obviously, you still got Takario, you still got Dalton Johnson, Genesis Smith, etc. But TCU is going to look to throw the ball all around the football field, and I think that's where it's going to be fascinating to see what happens there. Now, with TCU, the thing about it too with the Sonny Dykes team is that Sonny Dykes generally he is not looking to run the football. Now, again, he'll run the football, I think he'll run the football as kind of a courtesy, kind of a cursory look around, let's see what's going on type situation. But overall, Sonny Dykes not looking to really run the football. That's never really been his MO. And like I said, he's got a good quarterback to be able to do it as well in Hoover. And they're all on fairly good wavelengths with each other. Now you look at their last 3 games, and they put up 30 plus in every single game. So they destroyed Oklahoma 38-13. They did lose to Baylor 37-34. They beat Texas Tech 35-14. So there's obviously that. I will say that when it does come to this team, though, that you're going to have to, it's not a insurmountable game for Arizona, that's for sure. This is a team that has already lost to, Houston, which I still don't know after watching that game how Houston has beaten anybody all season, but Houston has somehow. So there's obviously that. Then you look at the rest of their schedule, though, and they had some tough games early on. Obviously, they lost to SMU, UCF. They beat Stanford, but they are playing. I think they're probably playing their best ball of the season right now. They've won 3 of their last 4, and like I said, Sonny Dykes is a really good coach. Now, from an Arizona perspective, then you're going to have to score points in this game. Not only are you going to have to score points in this game, you're going to have to be able to put the ball in the end zone. That is a big part of what goes into a game like this. You are going to have to put the ball in the end zone, and I think something with looking at this Arizona team, I think you're kind of at the stage now where you're like, all right. I think you're kind of at a point now where you're like, all right, well, where are we really at then with Arizona? They've got to be able to score. They got to be able to score offensive. They got to be able to score touchdowns. That's something. Then they've got the ball into the end zone. They've been able. They or the red zone. They've not been able to put the ball in the end zone, and that's something they got to do. Now, I am of the opinion at this stage where I would just throw it up to T-Mac 3 or like 6, 7 times per game and just let him come down with it. I mean, the dude is remarkable, obviously, and I think that when Arizona has had real success, it's when they just kind of start flinging the football around the field. And that's something that I think Noah Fafita is uniquely qualified to do. Noah Fafita throws a good deep ball, so that is where that's where I think it becomes interesting for Arizona. That is, to me, you've got to be able to score the football in this game. Not only do you got to be able to score the football in this game, you've got to be able to get a lot of points because the defense is going to give up a lot of points. I don't know that you can sit here and really say that the defense isn't going to give up a lot of points, especially when you just kind of look at how this entire situation is transpired. Now, Arizona played better against Houston. Now, I think a big part of that too is that Brennan said this week that there were less how do I put this? That they worked on getting the ball out faster, which is obviously a very good thing. Work on getting the ball out faster. That is a good idea because the problem that I think Arizona ran into so much of the time with Noah Fafita is that you're just backpedaling and backpedaling and backpedaling, and that's, like I said, that's where I don't really blame that on the kid because I know that Noah Fafita can play. I just wonder about what exactly has gone on from that coaching perspective. But either way, looked a little bit more even keel out there. So there's certainly that. Then they were also able to run the ball a little bit. I'm actually, like I said, I know it hasn't been great. But I'm actually kind of okay with the running game this season. I think Conley's been okay. I don't think he's been bad. Obviously, losing Ja'Cory Krosky merits a massive mention in all of this because he was going to be a big part of whatever Arizona wanted to do. But I will say that I think that this team, though, offensively, that was maybe the best game that I've seen them as far as just having an idea of looking like it, like they knew what they wanted to do out there. And I think that's where this all becomes very interesting. Now, does that win really mean anything? I don't know. Because again, Houston's not very good. Obviously, Arizona was favored going into that game. Again, I don't know how Houston has beaten good teams because they've beaten TCU, they've beaten Kansas State, but it is what it is. You got to win. You're going to celebrate that win as you should celebrate that win, no doubt about it. Now, when it comes to Arizona, when it comes to where Arizona is, I think that the big thing is, what should expectations be for this game, and where should Arizona really stake its claim? Should Arizona be in the spot where you're like, okay, can we just keep this close? Should Arizona expect to win? And what are the importance of this game? I think is very fascinating in all of that, and we're going to get to that there in just a second. But first, Skylight, all right, Skylight frame. Here's the deal. All right, here's the deal. We've got the perfect gift for you. Skylight frame is the touchscreen digital photo frame your whole family will love. Upload thousands of photos with your phone and watch them appear in seconds. Again, it's very easy to use. Setup takes less than 60 seconds. Again, invite friends and family to easily share photos via the free Skylight mobile app or email. No account or subscription needed. Very important right there. Add new photos straight from your phone from anywhere. It only takes a tap on your phone to send new photos across the country. It's the fastest. Check it out. And as of now, as a special limited time offer for our listeners, get $20 off your purchase of a Skylight frame when you go to skylightframe.com/college. That's skylightframe.com/college. Get $20 off your purchase now at skylightframe.com/college. Check it out. Now, also, another one that you're going to want to keep an eye on is FanDuel. FanDuel, my friends. FanDuel, great deals going on right now at FanDuel. Here's the deal. You can put down for a new, you can put down for a, you can put down $5 and you can get $150 in free plays if you're a new customer and that bet hits. How cool is that? How simple is that? I think that's the best part about all of this. Check it out again, FanDuel. And again, if you got an idea during the game and you're like, all right, well, I'm watching this Cardinals game and I think Kyler Murray's about to go off. FanDuel is where you want to go. Again, go to FanDuel.com. You put down 5 and get 150 in free plays if you win and you are a new customer. People are using FanDuel. Hop in, be like the other cool kids because, again, this is the best part of football year. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, the importance of this game. I think this is a massive game for Brent Brennan's future. Honestly, I don't believe for a second that how do I put this? I think it's very, very difficult to bring Brent Brennan back if you get steamrolled against TCU. Because the problem is then it's Arizona ASU. I mean, DRF's not dumb. I mean, she knows the importance of this, and she also knows the importance of fans showing up to games. Listen, there's been absolutely no, people are kind of out. I mean, you watch that game against that previous game, and obviously against Houston, and there was probably about 15,000 people there. Now, they announced an attendance of 38,000. Well, I mean, it wasn't close to that. So there's that. But if you, and again, you just feel terrible for the kids because I look at this, I'm like, all right, well, TCU, not good. I mean, TCU, if you go in there and just absolutely boat race, that's a problem because Arizona should not be a bad football team. Now you could say, well, maybe expectations are too high, whatever. But there's still a lot more talent on this football team than is being shown on the football field. And I guess that's my question is if you're Brent Brennan or if you're DRF and you're saying, are things going to be better? Are things going to be better next year? Are you going to lose? Are you going to lose players for? Are you going to lose guys like T-Mac? Are you going to lose guys like a Jonas Savaiinaea, possibly a Takario Davis? Who knows what the status with? Jacob Manu is and get better? That's generally not how things work. And so you got to look at that and say, all right, you're probably not going to be as good next year. And on top of that, I don't know that Brent Brennan can do anything to get the fan support back in there. And I think that's the calculation at this point. With that, I think that you're also kind of thinking to yourself, where are we then with this, if you're DRF? Because people are saying, why doesn't she just make a public statement? I wouldn't make a public statement. That makes no sense to me to make a public statement in support or whatever, because you have absolutely nothing to gain. Because, again, Brent Brennan has not been good. The community, not fans, and you didn't hire him. So why would you go out of your way to stick your neck out and say, yes, sure, Brent Brennan is my guy? I have no clue why anybody would say that, and it doesn't make any sense for her to say that, because listen. I mean, you don't want to tie yourself to. You don't want to tie yourself to basically to somebody that's wildly unpopular at this point. And I think with Brent, so with DRF, whatever her decision is, I would wait until after the season. Keep in mind, Brent Brennan's got what, 4 years left on his contract. He's being paid very, very well if he's let go. So the people are like, well, I just feel really bad for him. I would take Brent Brennan's situation right now. So there's obviously, that's where I think it's interesting. But she's also got to look at it from football is a revenue generating sport. We all know that. And if you look at, if you go into this offseason, with Brennan, which, who knows, maybe happens. If you go into this offseason with Brennan, I think you're also basically saying to yourself, well, I don't know that the fan support's going to be there, but we are going to put it out there, and we'll see exactly what happens. I don't really know what the deal is with that, but I think at some point you have to be realistic about where things are. Also, it doesn't help either that ASU right now looks like it's going to be a problem. Kenny Dillingham has kind of been the exact opposite of Brent Brennan in that he's come in with a plan. He's been energetic. The community is totally behind him. He's been kind of the exact opposite of Brent Brennan. So you look at the gap in state, and that gap is continuing to grow. And not only is that gap continuing to grow, you're also seeing you're seeing if you're an in-state kid, I don't know how you could look at both these programs and say, yeah, that's the one I want to go to. Basically, I think what Kenny Dillingham is now is that he's essentially Jed Fish. That's not a jerk. So with now, I think when it comes to with the impact of this game, if Arizona beats TCU, maybe they're rallying a little bit. Maybe if you're maybe you're maybe you're only kind of at this point where then I think you're maybe only kind of at this point where you're kind of wondering what exactly is going on here. I do think we're at the stage now with Arizona where you do know that you do know for a fact that she where is it? You do know for a fact that Arizona is not at the same stage that we are now with going forward. And I think that's going to be something that's going to be fascinating. Now, I do think I think we're also kind of at the stage too where Arizona also needs to know what is going on then from a revenue standpoint. That is where I think it becomes interesting as well. What is the revenue standpoint? And I think that's something that we got to keep an eye on. But as far as a prediction goes, I think Arizona's going to win. Arizona will win. I think TCU is likely to win this game. I think that not only is TCU going to win this game, I think they're probably going to win it pretty easily. And the big thing is, again, I don't think the TCU is a great matchup for Arizona. And that's where it is. If you're throwing the ball all around the football field, I think you're kind of at the stage where it's like, all right, that's just going to be difficult for Arizona to win. Now, I think the one thing also that you got to keep a very, very close eye on is what is the body language of the players, and I got to give Brent Brennan that. With Brent Brennan, you've got a guy that they've continued to battle for, and not only continued to battle for. You've also got a player that you've also got a guy that I think the players like, and so that's definitely something that keeps in mind here. But this is also going to be T-Mac's last road game, and like I said, I would throw that ball up to T-Mac, and I'd throw that ball up every single time. He has been a legend of a football player, and not only a legend of a football player, he's been a I think one of the 5 best football players to ever come through here, and that's something that I think that we should enjoy. TCU is going to be an interesting game, and it's going to be a very interesting game. Now we're going to get to the meeting, and then just a slight little look ahead. But first, PrizePicks. PrizePicks, check it out. Download the app. Use code LOCKEDONCollege and get $50 instantly when you play it with $5. Here's the deal. With PrizePicks, it's awesome. You can download the app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, PrizePicks, run your game. It is highly encouraged to voice. It is highly encouraged. PrizePicks, run your game. Again, download the app and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Check it out. Again, PrizePicks, all kinds of good stuff. And I think the other cool thing that you like about it too is that it is a skill-based fantasy game. And again, it's skill-based. That's where it's at. You're not watching something and you're not saying, man, I just got to get lucky, just the luck of the draw, this and that. So check it out, though. Download the app. Use code LOCKEDONCollege and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's how cool it is. Check it out, PrizePicks. All right, now, hold on. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, now let's talk a little bit about where Arizona is here let's talk a little bit now about where Arizona is here looking forward then as well. I think that TCU is probably going to win fairly easily. That makes DRF have an interesting decision to make. Okay, now, also, Arizona Duke is here. Get out there, get there early, and and Arizona needs this game. Arizona needs a big victory against Duke. Listen, Duke, I think, is the most talented team in the country. We broke this down in depth yesterday, and there's a lot of reasons for that. How does Arizona match up with them? We'll find out. But I do think that Arizona has the talent to hang. I also think there's going to be a massive recruiting weekend for Arizona. There are going to be a ton of players in attendance, and not only are there going to be a ton of players in attendance, this is the kind of game where kids get up for, and as far as the matchups go, Arizona's also got some advantages. Jaden Bradley, Caleb Love, that backcourt should be able to more than hold its own. I need a big game out of Crevis. Carter Bryant, I need to fast track. I need to get Carter Bryant out there. I need to get Carter Bryant playing. KJ Lewis on Con Knipple, that's going to be a big one as well. But there's just a lot of different matchups. Here that I think it's going to be fascinating to see for Arizona. So we'll find that out. As far as a prediction, though, I am back in the A. I am going 83-79 Arizona. I think Arizona is going to win this game. And again, this would be a very, very nice win for the Wildcats. Again, you're watching a team in Duke that's incredibly talented. There's going to be a keys to this game. Arizona's going to have to defensively be able to be in there and, get in there, rake, have things happen. And that's kind of where what you got to do with Arizona. You've got to be able to defend the three-point line here. If you don't defend the three-point line, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. I think that Arizona's got to be able to defend the three-point line. And then, honestly, you got to be able to get good play from guys like Caleb Love's got to show up. Caleb Love, this is a big game for him. He's got to be able, we've seen Caleb Love at his highest. We've got to be able to see Caleb Love really play well in this game. These are the kind of games that you brought Caleb Love in for, and so we'll see how that one plays out. But again, I look for Arizona to bounce back. Tommy Lloyd, to my recollection, has never lost two games back to back, and hopefully it doesn't happen this time. Like I said, though, you're going to have an awesome visitor list as well. This is a good basketball team, and I think they're going to bounce back in a very, very nice way. So we'll see how that one does play out. But again, I think we're kind of at the stage now where you got to win some games. Lloyd's teams have been remarkably good in November, but have kind of fizzled a little bit in March. Maybe this is a little bit of the reverse. And honestly, I'm totally fine with that. If you're getting ready for the Big 12, you're going to be okay. These are the kind of games that get you ready for that. Then you got the Battle of Atlantis coming up after that. So like I said, there's a lot to look forward to. So huge game for Arizona football against TCU. Massive, massive game. And then you've got obviously Arizona against Duke. Big game, because those are the kind of games that really matter come NCAA tournament or NCAA selection time. Did you beat Duke? I mean, again, Arizona went in last year and beat them in Cameron. There's never going to be a game where Arizona is at just a massive talent differential. But I think the thing with Arizona against Duke is that Duke is probably the most talented team, but they're also young. You saw that against Kentucky. Kentucky's great, but they're not a world beater, I guess, for lack of a better term. So there is that. But like I said, on that note, though, very much appreciate you all making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. Big game, Arizona TCU, with a lot of different meaning to it. And then, like I said, you got Arizona going against Duke as well tomorrow night. So let's get some victories, baby. All right, as always, bear down, back the A, and we will be back with you. Thanks for making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day.